What's up guys? Welcome to another one of my video. For today's video, I just did a quick render of a taillight. It's something that every single car, motorcycle, pretty much any vehicle has it. And it's essential to give like a good graphic to the back of the car. But also I'm going to teach you how to make it look shiny and look like an actual taillight and not just like a little red blob on the back of the car. Okay, so I'm drawing a taillight, but this is not, you don't have to copy or just do exactly what I'm doing. The cool thing about this taillight is that this applies to any taillight on any car that you want to draw. So just listen to what I'm talking about, how I control the colors and the markers and the contrast, and then that applies to any taillight that you want to do in the future. So let's go to the paper and check it out. Okay, so for today's video, I'm going to teach you how to draw a more realistic taillight. So pretty much it works with any taillight of any car, but the thing with taillights, it's a lot of the sketches that I see, they just put like a red marker on it and that's it. And taillights, they have a lot of reflective material, they have like chrome behind it. So let's do some taillights, just random taillights for you to be able to put them into your cars, okay? So if you just go right, so it's just like a lot of like random reflections inside. And what you're gonna do is we're gonna build it slowly as always. So I'm gonna grab, first marker would be my sunset pink. So this is where maybe it has some kind of like reverse light incorporated into the taillight, right there in the middle. Then this is gonna be acting like a cylinder, so the top gets a shade and the bottom catches a little bit of light. And then I'm gonna follow the same principle as I do with the, when I color the inside of my cars, the markers, it's gonna have like some kind of like horizon and reflections. So, because most taillights have like a plastic cover on them that is shiny, that reflects the horizon just like the body of a car. So next marker, powder pink, is my next darker marker. Again, this is a cylinder, it's getting the light from the top, so it's dark on the bottom and it's reflecting the ground on the bottom. And then we have like a horizon line. And then we have our sky reflecting on it, and then it has this random details on them. And the cool thing about taillights is it could be so random that you can just pretty much start throwing anything you want in there. Salmon. So again, dark on the bottom, on the top of the cylinder. My horizon line gets darker. Nice, neat, random reflections. Darken my sky at the top. Details on it. My next marker after salmon is deep salmon. Then I have my life red, which is actually a red color. All the previous ones are more like a pink color. I'm gonna get that horizon line, punch out the color.
Start adding like a little bit of detail in there. See, like, and this is a very loose, that shows when you see it from far away, it's gonna look like super nice and detailed, but it's really a very simple taillight. And now with that, I'm gonna go back with my sunset pink, which is my lightest pink, and I'm gonna blend some of that back into like a nice even tone on the bottom, so I get like this nice transition of color. And then I'm gonna try to make that on the top also, but leaving this center line white, because that's showing the horizon reflecting, and that's where there's the most light reflecting, so you can't see what's behind that because there's so much light bouncing off the plastic that you don't see what's behind that one. Okay, so now we have a almost shiny taillight, but we need to punch it out to make it look like it really has some chrome behind it, because most of these taillights have like the red plastic up the front, but on the back is usually like a chrome silver material that has like super high contrast and punch. So first thing I'm gonna do is this is my reverse light, so I'm gonna put a little bit of same thing horizon on it and some random details. Just like super random and nice and simple. I just used my number 1 gray. And then I'm gonna start punching up. This is ruby red, so this is more like a wine color, okay? So I'm gonna start punching out. And the funny thing with this one is that it lost the sharp tip to it, so it's gonna be hard to get some of the fine lines to it, but I'm gonna start punching that contrast, which is super important for the taillight to look like a nice real shiny taillight. And for this taillight, I'm not even looking at a real taillight design or something. I'm just putting random reflections, because when you do your sketches, you want to just keep adding details and stuff. And you don't want to spend too much time designing taillights if you're designing a car, right? Like if you're already done with the design of the car and then you want to spend some time on the taillight at the end, that's okay. But usually when you're doing a lot of sketches and stuff, you're not so much focused on the taillight. It's just something that will look really nice once you add to it. My next darker red marker is called Maroon. And again, I'm gonna keep punching my horizon line, my details here. Now, I already blended some of the pink back in it, but I wanted to get a little darker, so now I'm gonna go with the salmon, because once you start adding darker colors, you can start adjusting with your lighter colors. Because when only the light colors are in there, it looks like you went too dark, but once you put in the punching dark colors, then you realize that it's not as dark as you thought it was. Now the cool thing about red is you can add grays to it to make it darker. So now I'm gonna go with the number 5 gray to keep punching that black contrast to it. And if you thought that was dark enough, then we're gonna go with the number 7. Which is even darker. I guess it's 70% black, so we're getting darker and darker and darker. And then I'm actually gonna bring out the black. This is 100% black. And just add details to it. And this is some of the things that when you look at it, you know it's red, your brain tells you it's red. Most people that are not artists or something will never think to put black into something that looks shiny and red. But that's what's gonna make it punch out with a lot of contrast and make it look exactly what it is, which is has like a chrome background behind it, which is what makes it super duper shiny. And then that's pretty much it. So now if you were drawing a blue car, for example, I just want to add some surrounding color, so then I can show you how to dig, like just to put some surrounding color, just to show you how you separate the taillight from the body of the car. And adding some contrast to my blue color, so that way it looks like it's on a shiny car. And then I'm gonna keep punching my reverse light a little bit, because it looks a little like, almost like if I just forgot to color it in. And like I said, this is just random details that look really good once you see it from far away. That was my number 2, and I think I'm just gonna go as high as my number 3, so it still looks like a white light to it. All right, so now we're done with the marker part. Now we're gonna bring our Prismacolors. So one of the things that you will notice first is a taillight is usually a hole that is cut into the metal to fit a light. So it's a hole like structure that you fit inside the metal. So you're gonna have a very distinct cut line or black line or something, black outline, because it's 2 different materials that are put together, and usually that separation, you will see a shadow or a cut or something that tells you that these materials were 2 separate materials that are placed really tight together. And even if they do a great job of putting them like super tight together, you can still see a little bit of black space in between them. Right, then I can go with a black pencil and keep adding a little bit of detail. Just with the marker, the tip is too thick unless you're doing like a huge taillight, but if you're drawing a little smaller scale, then your marker won't be thin enough for you to be able to add detail. So with a pencil, you can keep cleaning it up a little bit. I can clean up that horizon line to make it look super nice and sharp and crisp. And then I can blend it a little bit. I could actually do that with a marker as well, but and then the reverse light also usually will have some kind of like chrome or something on its surrounding that separates it from the taillight, so you can have like a thin little line, just crisp, nothing too thick or something that doesn't look too bulky. And then you can add a little bit of detail in black, just random reflections, and you can have like now we're gonna add the white edges, because since this is a cut in the metal, usually there's some kind of like radius at the edge of the metal that will catch some light. So I'm gonna go ahead, and it's not gonna be a perfect straight line, but I can push the contrast on some parts and put less contrast on other parts. And then same thing will happen to the top edge of my taillight over here. And you can see like I changed my pressure. I go a lot more pressure here than here and stuff, because you don't want a perfect straight line. It just looks fake. You want to have like some kind of like transition on it. And then you can add a little bit of white highlights at different random parts of your taillight. And finally, we can add some highlights. You can do that with wash. For me, the fastest way that I found is this jelly pens that are great. They have like different numbers that tell you how big they are. But with this one, I can just catch, like, you can say like there's the sun pretty much reflecting on it, and it will catch a lot of the edges. Even on the car, not just the tail, I will catch like a little bit of a highlight. And just like that, you have a taillight that looks a lot more realistic. I'm not even designing the car or anything. This is just like a very simple taillight, but you can apply this to any shape taillight. I don't care if it's just like a round one or a square one or whatever shape you're doing. But as long as you have like your horizon line and you have all your reflections and your high contrast, is gonna look very realistic. So I hope you enjoyed this simple video. I hope you can add it to all your car sketches and start improving. And I'm gonna keep showing you how to add details to different parts of the car.
Okay, so that was it. That's how you do a taillight. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. I try to post, I say weekly, sometimes I miss it, but I try to post videos as often as I can with different tutorials, different things that can help you become a better designer. So subscribe, follow me. If you have any comments or something, post it below. I'm also gonna put on the description below what markers I used, so you can try to follow that. But at the end of the day, you just need light pink, like a little darker pink, light red, which is a dark pink, I guess, pink, and then I went with like wine color, like ruby red, and then burgundy, and then black. So there's the list below. Subscribe. See you guys next video. Get